Monday morning.
Good morning, boys and girls. Welcome to a new week of distance learning. I'm excited to be with you today. I want to go over just a couple of things real quick. First off, I want to encourage you to make sure that every day you're using the slides because some fun things are placed on those slides for you, not just for math, but also for history and science and English and reading. There's just some fun resources for you. I don't want you to miss that. So make sure you join us every day on the slides for those things. Secondly, I want to let you know we have another test this week in math. So we'll be reviewing today. You don't have to take the math test today. You'll just need to take it sometime this week. And it's the same format as our last one. And I want to encourage you, boys and girls, these are a little different since we're having to take the test online now. Make sure that when you're doing it, go ahead and have a piece of paper there next to you. Write out the problem and work out the answer that way. Don't just because the answers are in front of you, which isn't typically how we do math, but make sure you're still working it out. I know a lot of them you can do in your head. Do it in your head, but then check it on your paper so you can make sure that you're getting the correct answers as you go through. All right, well, let's go ahead and start our review. The first thing I want to do is some flashcards. So maybe you can grab somebody there at home, maybe an older sibling, maybe a younger one to make sure you win, maybe a parent, see if they are up on their multiplication facts. I would like to go up against DJ. I think I could beat him. But anyway, we're going to do our 10s, 11s, and 12s this morning and see, you can just do them with me or like I said, challenge someone at home, okay? Here we go. We'll start with the hardest one first. Did you get 144 and then 132? 120, 108, 96, 84, 72, 60. Make sure you're beating me for sure. 48, 36, 24, 12. What? We don't need that, do we? The ones are so easy. We don't need that. I'm taking this next one out too. Don't answer it. We don't need this one. That's just too easy. Okay, here comes the next one. If Mrs. Quilty's fingers will work, you know I have trouble with that. Here we go. 132, 121, 110. Ooh, I like the 11s. 99, 88, 77. Oh, Mrs. Quilty's fingers aren't working again. Here we go. 66, 55, 44, 33, 22, again, oh no, taking this one out too. You guys can do those zeros and ones. All right, here we go. 120, we're on the 10s now. 110, I like this one. 100, 90, 80, 70, 60, 50, 40, 30, 20. Oh, we're back around to our original one, which was 12 times 12. How'd you do? I hope you did well on those. That made me remember too, while I was going through those flashcards, don't forget on your slides, there are links to some games that you can do for multiplication and division. There's the Division Derby and the Grand Prix for multiplication. Those are great to kind of build up on your speed and keep those facts going in your mind. And who knows who you'll see when you are competing on there. You never know if a teacher might hop on or a fellow classmate. You never know who you might be racing in the Derby or in the Grand Prix. All right, up here on the board, I have some things for us to do together this morning. So first off, I wanted to review your Roman numerals. Now, in my class, we say, I vacuum extra large carpets during math, okay? But I know in Miss Natalie's class, she vacuums carpets for Dad and Mom. That's a nice thing to do. Maybe that's something you could do. I would really appreciate if somebody were to vacuum my carpets for me. And I'm a mom, and I know my husband would appreciate if one of his children were to vacuum the carpets. So I would appreciate that. So whether you do it during math, make sure you put your headphones on so you can still hear me if you're vacuuming during math, or maybe you do it for Dad and Mom. I would never turn that down at my house if somebody wanted to vacuum my carpets. So you do that. But let's go through what the answers are here, okay? So for Roman numeral, for the I, that would be 5. And then V, oops, look at me. I said I wasn't going to mess up. There's 1. V is 5. X, maybe you said it before me, is 10. Okay, what is L? That would be 50. And then C is 100. D is 500. And M is 1,000. Okay, hey, I encourage you for your test, write that out on a piece of paper so that you can remember as you're working, and you have that to look at, kind of like a key to help you as you have some questions coming up on that test to do those. All right, the first problem here I want to do with you is this division problem. Now, we are going to write our remainder as a fraction. We've learned that, and so I know that that's something I just want to practice with you today. So let me write out my steps of division. I have divide, multiply, subtract, compare, and bring down. So the first thing I'm going to do is ask myself, what times 9 will give me 6 or get me close without going over? Well, there is nothing. In fact, I can't even use 1 because that would be too high. And now that we're almost 4th graders, we don't need to put the 0 there anymore. So we're just going to move to the next number. So now we have what times 9 will give me 69 or will get me close without putting me over, and that would be 7. So I'll place my 7 there. Next, I need to multiply. 7 times 9 is 63. Okay, next I need to subtract. 9 minus 3 is 6, and 6 minus 6 is 0. Next, I'm going to compare. Is 6 less than 9? Yes, it is. So then I can bring down my 7. What times 9 will give me 67 or get me close without putting me over? It's 7 again. Isn't that nice? That's helpful. 7 times 9 is 63. Next, I'm going to subtract. 67 minus 63 would give me 4. Is 4 less than 9? It is. So typically we have been writing remainder 4, but remember we learned how to write it as a fraction. So I take that remainder and write it up here, and my denominator is the divisor, okay? So that's just going to be 9. So giving the answer for this, it would be 77 4/9, okay? So that's the answer for that division problem. Let's move over here to number 2. Boys and girls, if you want to, you can have a piece of paper now working these with me. If you want to figure them up instead of just watching, you're more than welcome to do that also. This problem here says 6 gallons plus 10 quarts equals blank quarts. So the first question I ask myself is, what do they want the answer in? I have gallons and I have quarts. So what do they want the answer to be? Well, it says equals blank quarts, so they want quarts. Okay, so I need to rewrite my problem showing quarts. So this is not quarts, this is gallons. So I'm going to put a blank there, blank quarts. Plus, we already have it here, so that's 10 quarts equals blank quarts. Okay, so my next step is to put a box around the ones that are different. So which ones are different? Well, it's this one right here because I have gallons and quarts. So I place my box around it. And now I'm ready for my 1, 2, 3. All right, so here's my 1, 2, 3. Remember 2 is my special number. Now, if I'm going from gallons to quarts, I'm going gallons to quarts, I multiplied, all right? And now I need to ask myself, how many quarts are just in 1 gallon? Well, that would be 4. So that's going to be my special number. Then I take the only other number in my box, which is a 6, and I multiply times 4. 6 times 4 is 24. So I'm going to record that up here. Don't get ahead of yourself. You're not finished yet, because we now have 24 quarts plus 10 quarts. So 24 plus 10, boys and girls, would be 34. So I'm going to fill that in here, 34 quarts. And that is my answer. So 6 gallons plus 10 quarts equals 34 quarts. All right, hope you did well on that one. Let's go over here to my purple star, which is rounding money. Now, I'm going to remind you there are 3 things we have to remember when we're rounding money, okay? The first thing we need to remember is that the cents, they just kind of go away. They become zeros, okay? But we need them at first to help us determine if we're going to round that dollar up or if we're going to keep it the same. But when we write our answer, there's always 0 cents. That's the first thing to remember. The second thing is if our cents is 1 penny or 1 cent up to 49 cents, we're going to stay. That dollar bill isn't going to go anywhere. It's just going to stay just like it is. But if it's 50 cents up to 99 cents, oh, that dollar has to go up 1, okay? So let's look at our first example, letter A, $5.89. Well, our cents right here is 89. And you'll remember, if it's 50 to 99, we have to go up. So this is at $5, so we would go up to $6. And remember that our cents go away, so they just become zeros. But we do need them to help us at first. So letter B is $13.09. So we're going to look at our cents. This falls into the 1 cent to 49 cent, which means we stay. So then we keep it at $13. And lastly, letter C, we have $8.50. Don't let them trick you on this, because this could be tricky if you don't think about our rules. But our rule is 50 cent to 99 cent. This is 50 cents, so that means our 8 needs to go up 1 to 9. So now we have $9. All right, hope you did well in that section. Look at my yellow star here. It simply tells us to reduce. So letter A is 8/10. So I have to think, boys and girls, what number will divide into 8 and divide into 10 evenly out? We can't have remainders. It has to go into both of them, okay? So think for a minute. They're both even numbers. 2. 2 will go into 8. 2 will go into 10. So 8 divided by 2 is going to give me 4. And 10 divided by 2 is going to give me 5. So when I reduce 8/10, it becomes 4/5. All right, let's look at letter B. I have 5/15. What will go into 5 and 15? Ooh, 5's kind of a difficult one because that is an odd number. But guess what will go into 5? 5. I like those. So let's divide 5 by 5, and that's going to give me 1. And 15 divided by 5 is going to give me 3. So when I reduce 5/15, I get 1/3. All right, lastly, I have my red star here. This is one of those fractional parts. Now, when we started doing these, we would do them in our head. And I know I heard students that were very fast with this. For instance, if this said 1/4 of 24, you would say 6. Because that would go perfectly, okay? This one doesn't go so perfectly, so we can still do it in our mind, but we really have to think through it, okay? So how many times does 4 divide into 26? Well, that would be 6. So I'm going to write equals 6. How many would be left over? Well, 6 times 4 is 24, so that means from 24 to 26 would be 2. So that's going to be my numerator here of my leftovers. And then my denominator stays the same, which is 4. So 6 and 2/4 would be the answer to 1/4 of 26. Boys and girls, I know you're going to have a wonderful week this week. Again, make sure you take a look at that math test this week at some time. Doesn't have to be today, but make sure you do that. And I know you're going to do great. I hope you have a wonderful week.